Primal Chaos.
Hey guys, Primal Chaos here, welcome to the channel. Fairly recently I discovered an amazing act that for whatever reason hadn't crossed my path before, and that was voice play. Voice play really impressed me with their arrangement of Nothing Else Matters. A lot of you said maybe that potentially wasn't the greatest first choice of a song to sort of get into those guys. But I disagree. It really spoke to me because I am a fan of like those old classic Metallica songs to begin with, but also, I mean, the arrangement was absolutely stellar. The vocal performances were all incredible. I loved everything from Jeff Castellucci's Insanity, like low end, and all the way through up to, you know, their higher parts and things like that. Absolutely stunning. But, you know, what was a resounding sort of thing that I noticed in the comments was everybody was asking me to check out Carry On Wayward Son. Maybe some of you twigged that I'm more of a rock guy. And so this is the next inevitable step in the chain, or link in the chain for these guys. So I really wanted to get into it. Now, Carry On Wayward Son is a personal favorite song of mine. It's one of the great classic prog rock songs. And Kansas are a band that already are known for having really great vocal harmonization. So I'd be really interested to see how these guys take that and run with it. This is going to be really interesting. This video is brought to you in part by Enchroma Glasses. Enchroma make lenses for colorblind people like myself. If you or anyone you know is colorblind, definitely click the link. It'll take you to their website where you can check out what's available for you and how it can help you. They're a really good sponsor. I love their products. I wear their sunglasses every day and their indoor glasses sometimes when I'm doing work on the computer and things like that. Fantastic company. Check out primalchaos.com. PRYMAL chaos.com. As you can see, if you scroll down here, I've got a bunch of different products for men and women, everything from band t-shirts to hats, all that sort of stuff. So I really appreciate it. It's a great way to support the channel. And let's dive right into the reaction. Here we go. Carry On Wayward Son featuring Omar Cardona. Here we go.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
It just, I mean, I know there's, with every a cappella group, there's a bass man, right? There's always a bass man. And the timbre of them always sounds relatively the same. So it's that doo-ba-doo-doo-doo sort of thing. But, man, there's just something about when he comes in, it just underpins the entire sonic frequency range. It just sort of, it gives it some foundations that for whatever reason just make everything else validated, you know. Let's see that intro again. Just, I don't know why it makes me laugh. It's just incredible. And that's not even low for him, you know.
There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
I mean, that's low. Oh, nice.
Once I rose above the noise and confusion, just to get a glimpse beyond this illusion. I was soaring ever higher, but I flew too high.
One of the great advantages of doing everything with vocals is you have to come up with new and interesting ways of addressing, you know, the consistency of always making just those vocalizations representing, say, a guitar riff, right? And the way you can sort of balance that out and tweak your ear and make things a little bit more interesting is applying backing vocals into those sort of like harmonizations of those parts. So rather than just being like, you can be like, the lyrics from a song in there as well. And it just always, it's a beautiful way of sort of taking up two parts, you know, of the spectrum of like songwriting, in that you can provide, you know, guitars can't sing backup vocals is what I'm getting at. That's a long way of saying it short. That should be on a t-shirt. Guitars can't sing backing vocals, for any a cappella people out there. The thing that I'm super envious of with any of these a cappella acts is their ability to repetitively hit those high target acuity kind of pitch arpeggiations, right? And for anyone who doesn't know what that means, it's when you take the chord and you break it up into individual notes. So rather than playing like, you know, like you're going, you know, that sort of thing. And it's, as a singer, like with a flesh and blood instrument, it's easy. You just hit a key on a piano and you hit a perfect C every time, or you hit a, you know, like an E flat or a G. But with a vocal, it's unless you're an incredibly superbly trained singer with a lot of practice, it's not always obvious that everybody has the ability to just hit a note, like with, you know, you know, see, every one of those was either above or below the note. It wasn't spot on. And not only that, most singers who don't have this level of pitch accuracy will have to sort of hit a note and they'll sort of, not quite as dramatic as that, but they'll usually just land somewhere and then they'll shift to the note, right? When you're singing these arpeggiated staccato sort of parts, there's no room for that. You have to hit the da, 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 da. You know, forget it. I'm not a singer. You guys can clearly hear that, but although I am going to be working on it very soon, I'll keep you posted about that project. But anyway, let's just go back a little bit. I just want to show you guys what I'm talking about. Just listen to Jeff when he starts doing that arpeggio.
Once I rose above the noise and confusion, just to get a glimpse beyond this illusion. I was soaring ever higher, but I flew too high. Though my eyes could see, I still was a blind man. Though my mind could think, I still was a madman. I hear voices when I'm dreaming. I can hear them say, carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
I love how they just slide into it, man.
Masquerading as
that was nice. So one of the things I'm noticing is Carry On Wayward Son is a particularly long song. It's got a lot of parts and a lot of instrumentation between the vocal parts, right? So the temptation would be to sing it from beginning to end as it is, but these guys are taking the arrangement and they're shuffling things around. They're putting little vocal stings and stuff in places where those parts aren't necessarily in the original, in a way to sort of create like a summary version of the original. And I think that they've made incredibly astute choices in doing that. There's nothing there that I'm going, oh boy, I wish they hadn't switched that around or whatever. But they have to come up with new solutions on how to, you know, get out of, say, a chorus part into a bridge in a way that doesn't have 16 bars of just riffing, you know what I mean? And they've so far made some really good choices. Far better than I would.
Masquerading as a man with a reason. My charade is the event of the season. And if I claim to be a wise man, it surely means that I don't know. On a stormy sea of moving emotion.
Love it just always plays with that sort of low, it's almost like he's relaxing. Sometimes when you're singing down, you relax into a note that'll sort of just bottom out like a, you know, and you just hear that rumble. Well, he'll start there and bring it up. And it's the antithesis of what I was talking about earlier with the, you know, the accuracy. Now he's sort of going, masquerading, you know, like so cool. So very cool.
On a stormy sea of moving emotion, tossed about him like a ship on the ocean. I said,
oh, that's so in tune.
But I hear the voices say,
hang on. I was so enamored by their craftsmanship that I wasn't listening.
ship on the ocean. I set a course for winds of fortune. But I hear the voices say,
it's like a, hang on, it's really confusing with this keyboard. So was that would be a G1. Okay, not as low as I've heard him go, but it's still ridiculous.
like a ship on the ocean. I set a course for winds of fortune. But I hear the voices say,
everything in that low octave just sounds, it doesn't sound real because he's so low. And when you hear low singers, you expect them to sort of have that sort of gravelly, almost like false chord sort of, where you can hear the chords slapping together, because that's what they do. Vocal cords vibrate. And, you know, the lower the note, the more relaxed they are and the slower they vibrate. And you can hear the frequencies, like as you go up, you get a higher frequency. But when you go slow, you can always hear the beats of the frequency, right? And so, you know, with that low, see how my voice sort of bottoms out and starts to break apart into just the low rumble? His is super low, but still has that sort of fluidy kind of silkiness to it. That's, you know, there's a core fundamental frequency there. That's where the talent is, right?
Fortune.
Ugh.
Cry no more. Carry on. You will always remember. Carry on. Nothing equals the splendor. Now your life's no longer empty. Surely heaven waits for you.
So this may have been covered in the comments because there were so many. I couldn't get through all of them, but I'd love to know for real. So Jeff's obviously a bass, right? The other three guys I'm looking at there outside of the is it Lane? Beatboxing. I still haven't memorized all their names yet. Are they all tenors? Because they all seem to sit in a pretty similar register. Where, you know, it doesn't seem like these guys are built around the structure of, like, you know, they've got a bass, a baritone, a tenor, you know, which kind of makes sense because, you know, if you're playing chords on a piano, right, you'll typically cluster your main notes, you know, within, say, a triad, right? But then you'll have like a bass down there to sort of underpin everything. So it makes sense, but I don't know much about a cappella arrangement. And I'd be curious to know if typically, if you were putting together a group, you would, you know, have like, you know, like different voices taking, you know, separate parts of the chord, I suppose. But these guys tend to sort of mix it up a little bit. I mean, again, maybe it's my untrained ear with a cappella arrangement. I don't know. It's interesting. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it doesn't sound absolutely stellar. I just want to have a better understanding of how a cappella arrangement typically works, like in a perfect world. Because oftentimes you'll get a group of people together and you'll start a project and you'll sing. May not necessarily be the same as if you set out to specifically come up with a group that can, you know, create very specific vocal harmony, right? Sometimes it's just a group of guys who like singing. They might be in a choir or a glee club together, and they put together, you know, an act. And then suddenly you go, we need a bass guy. So you get a bass guy, but it's not the strategy of putting together the perfect vocal harmony group may not have been the first thought process. Right. But yeah, like these guys don't need anything else. I'm just asking from the perspective of some of you guys will have some interest in a cappella arranging, and I'd love to know sort of how you know, in a perfect world, what's the scenario, right?
Surely heaven waits for you. Carry on my wayward son. There will be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. No, don't you cry. Don't you cry. Don't you cry.
Oh.
Don't you cry no more.
Oh, it's so intricate. It's so wonderful.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest.
Don't you cry no more.
Oh. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate that you guys pointed me in the direction of this one, because it really does. It worked for me incredibly because, again, I'm a fan of the song. I knew kind of what to expect going in, but I just wanted to see how they would tackle it. And they did everything right from my perspective. You know, they truncated it in a certain way to make it more appealing, and so that they could, and they replaced long parts of sort of long-winded old school rockery into things where they had the opportunity to produce really interesting musical concepts, right? Like interesting harmonizations and things where that, lead ins to parts that are slightly different, but still you recognize from the song and things like that. That's absolutely stellar work. I'm fixing my headphones. I'm a big fan. I think that they really know what they're doing with their arrangements and stuff like that. Another thing that wasn't lost on me that I really dug is the nature of how they sort of set up the music video. Like this seems to be something that they do. They sit down on chairs. I mean, how else are you going to really do it, right? But they've used the kind of lighting, smoke effects, the color of the lighting that is absolutely reminiscent of like 1970s live music videos, where or like live production and stuff. Especially when the colors get sort of blown out towards the end there in those close-ups, that looks like a stage performance. It looks like rock and roll show. I saw the Deftones fairly recently at a live festival, and I swear this is exactly what I was looking at on stage. Very cool. And I guess that wasn't by accident. These guys put a lot of thought into everything they do. Having glanced around, I haven't watched a lot of their stuff because I want to save things for reactions, but looking around, they seem to put a lot of work into costuming and design and things like that as well, which is obviously an homage to their, as you guys have told me, their influence from musical theater and stuff like that. So I'm definitely keen to sort of check out some more stuff in that direction, but I don't know whether or not a lot of the material might be lost on me. I've never seen Nightmare Before Christmas, sadly. I know. It's like when someone says I haven't seen Star Wars, and I'm like, what? But also, there's a lot of stuff there. It doesn't mean I don't want to check it out. I just maybe won't pick up on a lot of the little idiosyncrasies that fans of the genre might pick up, But I guess that's interesting because it gives me a different perspective sometimes, Anyway, in summary, absolutely stunning performance as always, as exactly what I expected in that regard. Absolutely beautiful vocals. I love each and every one of their voices separately. Their solo pieces are all absolutely stunning. And then, together, just when I particularly like the parts where there's just pure chaos going on. Like you've got, say, Jeff doing like an arpeggiated sort of rhythm. You've got obviously the beatboxing. Those two are complementing each other so that like the kick drum sound and the bass guitar sound are kind of locked in the way they would be in rock and roll production. It gives it that low end pump, But then, they'll be doing something where there's a lead vocal going, then there's choral vocals under that are sort of moving through chord shapes. But then they'll throw in a backing vocal as part of that arrangement. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant. It's just far beyond anything that I would ever be able to realize in my life. And I guess that's why we have acts like this, right? They're the ones we love to aspire to and be influenced by and inspired by. That's pretty much all I got to say. I think I'm really keen to check out more of these guys' journey. Also, if you guys know anyone, these guys are in the comments, you guys mentioned these are the top 3. Who else is there? I'm really keen to check out some more acts. I know there's a group called, is it Naturally 7? I've heard them do In the Air Tonight or something many, many years ago. Maybe I should dig that up and check it out. But either way, thank you so much for sticking around if you stuck around this long. Thank you, as always, for the comments and everything like that. And, if you want to see me do something else, hit me up in the comments. As I mentioned earlier, if you're interested in a cappella arrangement and sort of can answer a few of my questions from the middle of the video, dive right in as well, because I'd love to know, like, in a perfect world, how would you piece together an act like this? That's about it. If you feel like supporting my channel, don't forget to check out my merch site. Or Enchroma, don't forget to check out Enchroma. If you like what I do here, if you feel like I brighten your day at all, feel free to support the channel just by buying me a coffee. I'll leave a link in the description. And also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you are a part of any forums or vocal groups or anything, feel free to share this reaction around as well. That always helps and makes me feel great. Thanks again. Thank you for sticking around. I appreciate each and every one of you. And stay primal. I'll catch you on the next one.